This is CBC Nova Scotia News.
Courses cut. Dozens of part-time professors scramble for work after St. Mary's University drops around 50 arts and humanities classes.
New tools. The Houston government says municipalities will get the help they need to protect the coastline.
And he's headed to the jump rope championships. What it takes to be a world-class skipper.
Wet weather Tuesday night into Wednesday morning, but clearing skies and some sunshine in the mix with mild temps. Your full forecast is coming up.
The union representing some St. Mary's University professors says the school is, quote, taking a hammer to the humanities.
CUPE Local 3912 says around 50 arts and humanities courses will be dropped for the upcoming academic year.
And that's leaving dozens scrambling for work. Nicholas Sagan reports.
Erica Fisher has been teaching Spanish at St. Mary's University for nearly 13 years. But this coming academic year, she'll be out of work. Her courses are being cut, along with the courses of around 40 other part-time professors.
It's really having a psychological impact because they didn't have any time to prepare.
CUPE Local 3912, the union representing these part-time contract profs, says around 50 courses won't be offered next fall, most of them in the arts and humanities, hitting hardest in departments like English, religion, history, and languages and cultures.
We've seen cuts happening over the last 2 years, but this is a really significant escalation.
St. Mary's University has been facing financial pressures, saying last year that cuts to international students could cost millions in lost revenue. Recent changes to provincial legislation have also increased government influence on universities, linking university funding decisions to government priorities. But professors say cutting courses is the wrong way to save money.
If there's a revitalization conversation going on in the government, the revitalization really should be about cutting administrative bloat, which almost every study about the academic sector will say that is the real problem in our universities.
The university declined an interview request, saying it's currently in collective bargaining with the union. A spokesperson says an annual course review is underway and courses being taught by full-time professors are being prioritized, saying adding and dropping courses is normal practice.
I react to that by saying that we have meticulously examined the course offerings that are available at this time and that they are significantly reduced and that it's in black and white in our university system.
The provincial government denies any involvement in the course cuts, saying universities are independent institutions that make their own decisions on programming. Nicholas Sagan, CBC News, Halifax.
The unions representing the province's teachers and school support staff are frustrated to see another delay in updating Nova Scotia's Student Code of Conduct. The new version of the policy was supposed to be implemented this spring. But as Selena Alders reports, there is still no clear timeline.
An updated version of Nova Scotia's Student Code of Conduct has been delayed once again. The unions representing teachers and school support staff are wondering what's taking so long.
In January, the Minister of Education assured Nova Scotians that an overhaul of the Code of Conduct for public schools would be ready and put into action in March. The province had ordered a review of the policy in October 2023 amid growing concerns about violence in schools.
The violence can go from anywhere from a slap in the face, throwing objects at their face, pinching, biting, kicking.
Scott says his members need the updated Code of Conduct to have a clearer directive on how to handle these incidents.
It's a very frustrating for the union's perspective, wondering why the Code of Conduct hasn't been released yet.
Peter Day is president of the Teachers Union. He says school violence is also a top concern for his members.
Our membership, our parents, our school communities, they need to see real, tangible change. And we need more than just words.
The chair of the Public School Administrators Association says her members are also eager to see the revised policy, but she knows these things can take time.
We feel that the Code of Conduct is a really important document, for sure, and we also feel that it's really important to do it well. And, you know, as part of a broader safe school strategy, the Code of Conduct is one piece of that puzzle.
A spokesperson for the Department of Education did not acknowledge CBC's request to interview the minister in charge. She said in an email that work is being done to complete the Code of Conduct and incorporate feedback. She did not say when it would be released or implemented in schools. Selena Alders, CBC News, Halifax.
Nova Scotia's Auditor General is praising the provincial government's recent efforts to make good on her office's past recommendations. A follow-up report looked at progress on recommendations made from 2020 to 2022. Kim Adair says the performance is notable.
The 60% implementation rate last year moved to 80%. That's a huge leap. And 1 year in particular, 100% of the recommendations were implemented. So there's mixed commentary in today's report, but I think it's fairly articulated and warranted.
Adair says a low point is the government's failure to complete recommendations included in a 2019 audit of how the province manages bridge projects.
After scrapping the Coastal Protection Act last year, the Nova Scotia government has announced a new set of tools to help municipalities protect coastline and fight against climate change. Aaron Potty has the details.
Tim Holman, Nova Scotia's Minister of Environment and Climate Change, was in Sydney on Tuesday to announce a blueprint on how municipalities can protect the province's coastline.
Using science, data, and information in our respective areas of expertise and jurisdiction, I believe we can preserve our coastal way of life in a safe, sustainable, and climate-informed way.
The Nova Scotia government has created an example set of land use bylaws to help municipalities regulate property developments along the coast. The bylaws were developed in consultation with the Nova Scotia Federation of Municipalities.
While there are different approaches that municipalities can take to protect their coastlines, this sample documentation provides a well-organized guide to assist municipalities in understanding their land use planning options.
It's a controversial measure. The Houston government refused to pass a 2019 law adopted by the previous Liberal government that would have required the provincial government to manage coastal protection. Despite that, CBC Mayor Cecil Clark is welcoming the news, saying his municipality has already dealt with Hurricane Fiona and last year's major snowfall, dubbed Snowmageddon. Clark says CBRM will take its time to review the options.
We're going to be planning forward. This is not something we're jumping into next month. It is something that we're going to be thoughtful about and make sure we engage not only with the real estate sector but with citizens.
Holman also announced more than $1.3 million for the Nova Scotia Federation of Municipalities. That money will be used to hire a climate change policy analyst and to help its 49 members create their own bylaws. Aaron Potty, CBC News, Sydney.
And with a quick peek at the weather forecast, here's Ryan Snoddon.
And you promised to warm up, and you delivered.
Yeah, well, the weather's actually going to stay quite mild even for Wednesday, Tom and Amy. Thanks so much. And some wet weather on the way overnight, Tuesday into Wednesday morning. We're going to see a gradual clear out. But with that southwest wind, the temps are going to stay quite pleasant. We'll see some gusts in the 50 to 60 kilometer per hour range, so it is going to be breezy, but temperatures in that 10 to 14, maybe even 15 range up towards New Glasgow and Pictou County on Wednesday. We will see a chance for some showers Wednesday morning for the eastern half of the province, lingering into the afternoon. So here's the wettest of weather overnight. Maybe even a rumble of thunder with this. Note by Wednesday morning, Cape Breton is the best chance, but eastern parts of the mainland with a slight risk of a shower, not only in the morning, but into the afternoon. We could see an isolated sprinkle, but some sunshine in there. And again, we're still hanging on to the milder temperatures. A bit of a cool down for Thursday, bit cloudy at times, but not half bad. Friday's the pick of the weekend, but the long weekend is not looking too shabby. We'll break it down with your full forecast coming up.
All right, sounds good.
Want to know more about that? Thanks, Ryan.
Thanks, Ryan. Proceedings began Tuesday at the Supreme Court of Canada in a case that involves COVID travel restrictions within Atlantic Canada back in 2020. Nova Scotian Kimberly Taylor was told she could not attend her mother's funeral in Newfoundland. Newfoundland's Supreme Court acknowledged that the public health order violated her constitutional right to travel within Canada, but also found that the charter infringement was justified by the circumstances of the pandemic. Taylor appealed that decision, and the Supreme Court of Canada agreed to hear her appeal.
Correctional officers took to the streets Tuesday afternoon to complain about working conditions in the province's jails. About 36 jail guards converged on downtown Halifax over the lunch hour to make their case. The correctional officers say pay disparities mean they can't retain the experienced officers they need to ensure the jails are properly staffed.
The problem is we can't retain those folks. They were going out the door as fast as they're coming in.
Officers are making $4 an hour less than sheriffs and doing the same type of work.
A Nova Scotian is headed to the World Championships of Jump Rope later this year. That's a sport the CBC's own Allie Thompson used to be involved in.
She recently met up with Jacob Nussey to put her skills to the test and find out just how hard it is to become a world-class jump roper.
I'm going to meet up with a Nova Scotian who will represent Canada at the World Jump Rope Championships later this year in Japan. Now, not a lot of people know this, but I used to be a jump roper. I was on a team called the Bedford Skippers, so I wanted to find out, how hard is it to compete with a world-class jump roper? I'm doomed.
My name's Jacob Nussey. I'm a 10-year competitive jump rope athlete, and my hopes are to just go and make more new friends and experience the culture and hopefully land on the podium.
So I'm going to go head-to-head with Jacob Nussey in a few of the different skills he'll be competing in at the World Championships. The first skill is triple unders. So Jacob, what is a triple under?
The triple under is basically where the rope goes around your body 3 times before you land on the ground again.
All right, let's do it. Why did you get hooked on it?
I think it's just because of how friendly everyone is. Unlike other sports I tried where everyone's kind of to themselves. No matter what team you're on, everyone's cheering for everyone. You can learn so much from everyone.
That's hard.
Yeah.
So the next skill is called speed. So tell us what speed is.
Yeah, so speed varies from a 30-second event to a 3-minute event. And basically you're alternating your feet and the judges are counting your right foot for every jump that you get. Before me, there wasn't really any male athletes on the team, so it was kind of I kind of brought a different look to the team because I was one of the first males in a long time. So I kind of inspired more males to join the sport, which I think is pretty cool.
That was awesome. Okay, so for the third event, it's freestyle. So Jacob, what's freestyle?
So basically you're doing a bunch of different skills choreographed to a song for 1 minute and 15.
You're 19 years old. Do you foresee yourself jump roping into the future?
Yeah, my plans for the future are hopefully in the next few Olympics. The sport is supposed to be named an Olympic sport, so I want to stay around to hopefully become a part of that team as well.
Now, I have some experience, but I wonder if we should get some volunteers to find out just how hard it is for the average person. Do you guys think that jump rope is hard?
No, it's not hard. I will definitely try for this guy.
Do you think you could compete with a world-class jump roper?
For approximately 60 seconds, yes.
No. I don't think he could beat me. I've been skipping for 71 years.
Let's give it a go.
I can't even hang on to my
Would you like to give that one a try?
Old people aren't supposed to fall, so I don't think so.
Do you still think that you could compete with a world-class jumper?
No, not at all.
Maybe not headed to Worlds yourself this year.
No, I'm not making it to Worlds this year. That might be past my prime.
Well, it's clear who the winner is here today, and hopefully he'll be a world champion when he goes to Japan in July. Thanks so much, Jacob, and best of luck. 5, 6, 7, 8.
I don't know, I got tired just watching them. How about you?
I'm glad they didn't ask us, Amy.
Ryan is up next with the full weather forecast.
Oh, people had a little extra spring in their step today, didn't they?
Well, you know, spring finally arrived again.
showed up,
It took a little vacation and now it's back, right?
Nobody complained today. Tons of people walking by the desk, no comments, other than, boy, what a great day.
Yeah.
Everybody enjoying this for sure. We do have some wet weather tracking in overnight, and that's going to clear again. A nice little stretch here. We will see a chance for some showers Wednesday into Thursday, as I said, but overall, looking pretty good. Let's break it down. First and foremost, our webcam video from Nova Scotia Webcams, and Burnt Coat Head, low tide there. Always a beautiful spot. Note the cloud building in though, and that cloud has obviously been building in throughout the day, and it will continue to be pretty thick tonight with indeed some wet weather rolling in Note the temperatures out there right now: 13 Greenwood, Kentville rather, 11 degrees in Halifax and Sheet Harbor, and we are looking at 10 degrees Port Hawkesbury. A little bit cooler in those onshore winds, as we can see. 'Tis the season. Note the winds, for the most part, in from the south to southeast right now, and we will be seeing a shift to southwest winds as the frontal boundary moves through. Let's time that out. So there's the front itself, the cloud deck moving in, still hanging on to the sunshine across Cape Breton at this hour. Beautiful evening there. Even Antigonish and Guysborough, the clouds thickening up as you work your way west, and we are indeed watching after a couple of little spits of showers ahead of the front. These are the steadier showers that are now rolling in, and periods of rain along this frontal boundary, which will move through overnight tonight with maybe even a rumble of thunder. High pressure to follow, and that will calm things down to end the week. Still looking very spring-like across Alberta and Saskatchewan. 17 degrees at this hour in Calgary and Regina, just 7 in Winnipeg, 6 in Toronto. This is the cold air that's kind of sweeping in on the other side of this system that's moving through. So let's time it out. So we've got temperatures tonight that are going to be fairly mild for this time of year. We will drop to 1 or 2 degrees in through Cape Breton. The rest of mainland looking at temperatures in that 4 to 6 and 7 range. The winds will go from southeast to southwest as this system does truck through. And note some pockets of yellow and orange in here. Generally, we are going to be seeing about 5 to 10 millimeters, but we could see some pockets that do exceed that, especially if we do get a little isolated thunderstorm in here. Wednesday, we'll see some wet weather lingering for Cape Breton. I know this model not showing it, but there is a slight risk from New Glasgow and Antigonish, even back towards the metro area early on Wednesday. And then there's another slight risk into the afternoon. Note the sun, the cloud looking pretty good for much of the day. We'll see a scattered risk of a shower developing into the afternoon for central and eastern areas of the province. So it's a slight risk, but it is there. Note temperatures ranging between 9 and 14 for Cape Breton for Wednesday afternoon. Canso near 8, but I think Guysborough itself in the double-digit range. We are looking at 13, 14 degrees, Sherbrooke to Antigonish, and back into the central areas, 13, 14, maybe 15 up towards New Glasgow on Wednesday afternoon with that favorable southwest wind. It will be breezy, and so that's going to keep temperatures cooler along the Atlantic coastline, funneling in those again, the water temperature is just so cool still this time of year. That low will move off to the north. Now we're at Thursday. Clouds a bit stubborn, isolated couple of shower chances possible Thursday afternoon, especially in the east. Temperatures ranging between 6 and 10 degrees on Thursday, so not a bad spring day. Now, we still have a few seconds here, so we'll show you the weekend setup. Friday looks good, increasing clouds, and this is the system that's going to be rolling in. This is what is set to bring some showers for Saturday. Not a washout. Looks like the steadiest stuff will be to our north, New Brunswick up towards Newfoundland and Labrador. But showers Saturday. This system looks set to kick out on Sunday, and we are looking at a pretty favorable day. Uncertainty as to the temps on Sunday still, how much cooler air will funnel in on the backside of that system. And so that's really the biggest uncertainty right now is the temperature on Sunday. Does look like we will see the clearing skies, so watch for that to fluctuate a little bit. But overall, not too bad. Friday, I think, will still be the pick, but Sunday afternoon looking pretty half decent, and Monday too if you've got that day off.
Could be a lot worse, that's for sure. Thanks, Ryan.
Thanks, Ryan.
Thank you.
Coming up, the Nova Scotia Federation of Municipalities weighs in on the province's coastal protection blueprint. The Houston government is offering municipalities a blueprint on how to protect the coastline. The province released more tools and some new example municipal land use planning bylaws. Pam Mood is the mayor of Yarmouth and the president of the Nova Scotia Federation of Municipalities. So Mayor Mood, what did you think about the province's announcement today?
Well, I thought it was excellent. It's a great step forward, and we're going to have lots of tools to move forward with climate change and coastal protection. So it's all good.
Just by way of a history lesson, the Houston government pulled the Coastal Protection Act and then said the municipalities are best suited to protect the coastlines. Do you agree with that?
You know what? I'll be very frank that at first there was a lot of discussion around, who should take this on? And in the end, we are 49 municipalities, less because everybody isn't on the coast, but we're different. Everyone is different. I'm different from my neighbors. My neighbors are different from folks in Cape Breton. So, it's something that each of us should be taking on with support of the province. And because we are all different and we know the needs of our communities better than anyone. So I go with this.
And today was, as the province was saying, it was about the support from the province. But some of your colleagues have called this downloading on the municipalities, certainly in the past. Do you think that?
It's a tough one because it has to be done. I think the province is saying, we're going to support you, not just financially, with bylaws, the paperwork, but again, we are all different. And so, if we have to take this on, then we're going to do it with the help of the province, which is a bonus because that doesn't have to happen either.
Yeah, well, tell me about that because, what difference will that funding make, the funding that was announced today? What difference will the example bylaws that the province is putting forward make when it comes to municipalities drafting their own regulations?
Yeah, I think it'll make a huge difference. It's difficult to, for example, the town of Yarmouth, we don't really have to do any of this because we've already, we've baked the coastal protection into our municipal planning strategy. I would suggest that many municipalities have done that, or at least some have for sure. This is tremendously important. So we don't have to do it. But for those that haven't and haven't touched coastal protection, imagine having somebody at your fingertips to help guide you through policy making, through the bylaws with examples, all those things that, cost money and put together are the biggest helps that can be offered. So that's what's on the plate right now. And that's a good thing.
And I know that months ago there was concern being expressed by some of the municipalities that this might lead to patchwork regulations. So the regulations would be different in one county than perhaps it would be in the other. And if you were a developer, for example, and you didn't like the regulations in one county, you might be able to go and get something more favorable in another. What do you think about that argument now, given what the province is releasing or announcing today?
Yeah, so, I understand this is not mandated for all municipalities. And that's a big deal. Have to rethink that one. But I think we have to protect the coastline. We have to protect developers. We have to protect our residents from building in places that there is going to be coastal erosion or there is going to be a sea level rise. So we have to understand that. And what's happening here is, NSFM will lead this for our municipalities, understanding fully and respecting the fact that everybody doesn't agree with this, but it is ours now to make sure that we take care of it. So we will lead that informed because the funds are there for us to get guidelines out, to work bylaws with the municipalities, a policy writer. All those pieces that make for the best way going forward. So, some may not do it at all. I will say, probably shouldn't say this as president, but me, I think, mandating it to protect the province would be the way to go because it's too important. Climate change isn't a joke. Coastal protection isn't a joke, and it has to be done.
There are mapping tools and educational material released by the province as well to help property owners make good decisions. But ultimately, does it come down to good, strict regulations? Like, is that the must here?
I think it is the must. I think that municipal units have to understand what we have, what we are allowing folks to do. And there's a difference between, saying to a developer, we're so glad you're developing and, fill your boots, go anywhere you want, and understanding the impact that's going to have later. Like it's going to be some tough decisions, but when you write the bylaws and, give those to folks with backing behind it, with facts and everything else, it makes sense. So this is where we are.
Looking forward to reading those bylaws. Pam Mood, Mayor of Yarmouth, thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Coming up, Honda denies reports that it intends to move auto production out of Canada amid Donald Trump's global trade war.
And election issues. With tariffs and Canadian sovereignty top of mind on the campaign trail, climate change is taking a back seat. Welcome back. Only 2 automakers are operating near full capacity in Canada right now. For a time today, it looked like that number would drop to 1.
Reports suggested Honda was planning to move some of its work to the U.S. The automaker later said it's not going anywhere. But as Kate McKenna reports, that did little to calm an industry already in anxiety overdrive.
Just the threat of these Honda assembly lines grinding to a halt prompted a wave of tough talk and promises from Canadian politicians.
We will fight, we will protect, and we will build.
It all started when a Japanese news outlet reported Honda was considering moving Canadian jobs to the United States in response to Donald Trump's auto tariffs. After talking to the company, Ontario's premier shot that down quickly.
Well, we're going to keep Honda here, and I'll do everything I can to protect the people and their jobs.
Honda Canada issued a statement to, as it said, clarify and correct the report, saying its Ontario plant will operate at full capacity for the foreseeable future, and no changes are being considered at this time.
I don't want to discount anxiety over it. The reality is that company is never pulled back in Canada from crisis.
Ottawa also announced more incentives to fight the effects of Trump's tariffs. Automakers will be partially exempt from counter tariffs on U.S. assembled cars so long as they keep operating in Canada. And other manufacturers will get a 6-month pause on paying some counter tariffs on items like food packaging to allow time to rejig supply chains.
There is no going back. We, in Canada, we will have to build a new relationship with the United States.
Federal party leaders, including Mark Carney, all positioned themselves as best suited to defend Canadian jobs.
We need to really fight back and get these tariffs removed, make sure that we can strengthen our automobile sector.
What we should do is focus on what we can control, and that is to reverse the disastrous Liberal economic policies that Mr. Carney advised Trudeau to take.
These on-again, off-again threats add to uncertainty across the country and could end up being the ballot question in this federal election. Kate McKenna, CBC News, Montreal.
All the party leaders were campaigning in Quebec Tuesday ahead of Wednesday evening's French language debate in Montreal. Liberal leader Mark Carney promising more help for Canadian workers who want to learn new skills.
Today, I'm announcing that my government will launch a new sector-specific mid-career training and upskilling benefit in priority sectors: manufacturing, construction, tech, and artificial intelligence.
Carney says the benefit will provide up to $15,000 per person for skills training in those areas of critical need in the economy. He also pledged to support employers who want to retain workers and grow their companies.
Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre has announced a new element of his tough on crime agenda. He says if elected, his government would create legislation to protect Canadian seniors from phone and online fraud.
We're going to pass the Stop Scamming Seniors Act, a common-sense law that forces banks and telecom companies to deploy state-of-the-art technology to catch scams and stop them before they happen, not after, when it is too late.
Poilievre says those institutions will have to automatically flag and block suspicious activity like robocalls and unusual transactions and report statistics on their fraud prevention efforts. He says banks and telecoms who don't do enough to prevent senior scams could face penalties of up to $5 million. His proposed legislation would also increase fines and mandatory jail sentences for the fraudsters.
NDP leader Jagmeet Singh is campaigning in Montreal. He says he will keep the increase in capital gains tax. It's what the Liberal government had planned in the last federal budget, but ultimately scrapped.
New Democrats are committed to fighting for you and your family, are committed to a tax system that is more fair, to investing in you, investing in the services that you need, not giving tax breaks to millionaires and billionaires.
The NDP leader says the decision to cancel the increase would mean a loss of $19 billion over the next 5 years, money that he says could be used to put towards health care and the expansion of pharmacare. Singh said the entire Liberal Party was in favor of the plan, then suddenly flip-flopped.
Climate change is one of the issues on the agenda for the French language leaders debate Wednesday evening. But with tariffs and cost of living dominating the election campaign so far, climate change has been taking a back seat. A far cry from elections past. Susan Ormiston looks at why.
Big pressure back in 2019 when over 40% of Canadians polled said a top issue was environment and climate change. But in the years since, that metric by Angus Reid Polling has sunk, diving further in the last 6 months.
We have witnessed a significant decline. It's being overshouted
by more pressing and more immediate issues, that being affordability, housing, the cost of living, and obviously tariffs and Donald Trump.
Even after last year's wildfires, extreme floods, and huge hail, a majority of Canadians likely won't vote on climate policy.
Carney and Poilievre are trying to stay away from the climate conversation to avoid that risk of alienating those who may be considered swing voters.
Instead, there is lots of talk about building more oil and gas pipelines.
We can build Canadian pipelines with Canadian steel. How many projects have the Liberals killed already?
To be an energy superpower, we also need to get more conventional energy built, with a focus on making it as clean as possible.
But how? Mark Carney's first move as Prime Minister was to cut the consumer carbon tax, thereby neutralizing Poilievre's main attack, axe the tax.
I was a little bit nervous to see Carney cut the carbon tax because I don't know what policies on the environment he has in store.
It's not that Canadians don't want action on climate. Polling in March showed 3/4 of voters want the leaders to take climate change seriously. But what does that mean?
I have not heard a lot of parties talk about carbon emissions, talk about climate change.
There is space in the looming economic crisis, Bruyette says, to recognize that cleaner energy is a sovereignty issue.
Despots can't control the sun and the wind. The missed opportunity right now is one of political leadership and imagination of how we could transform our economy.
Because, tariffs or not, the climate risk will only grow. Whomever wins can't escape that. Susan Ormiston, CBC News, Toronto.
Stats from Elections Canada show new Canadians tend to vote in lesser numbers than other Canadians, and they tend to be less interested in politics compared to more established immigrant voters. But as Katie Nicholson found out, some are feeling excited about the prospect of casting their first vote in such a consequential election.
We did tobogganing here, and we had maple syrup, and it was pretty cool, but it was quite adventurous as well.
Gaurav Merrick is going to vote in his first federal election. Like most Canadians, one major issue is weighing on his mind.
That person down south, it seems not fair how Trump is treating Canada especially.
But it isn't the only issue.
I really think there's too much immigration.
Fresh from the long process of becoming a citizen, he's now reckoning with issues of affordability.
I know I've come through the process.
Especially housing. Too much immigration, he says, hasn't helped.
Because now what's happened, there's your resources are getting divided. And I mean by job opportunities, I applied for over 250 job applications, and I just heard back from maybe 20 of them.
Data from Elections Canada shows only 42% of new Canadians were very interested in politics, compared with 51% of established immigrant electors. But this high-profile election is capturing the attention of many newcomers.
Have you decided who's going to vote already, or you're still debating?
In Calgary, these new Canadians are feeling the swell of patriotism heading into this election.
Because of that long kind of process that we've gone through, that's one of my main concerns. We definitely have started feeling more recently as well that spirit of being Canadian and really fighting for Canadian values.
That's how I feel like I am a Canadian. I'm a proud Canadian. I want to protect this country. I want to protect this life. I want to protect this community that we built together.
I know where I'll be casting the vote.
That fierce pride fueling Merrick to the polls too.
When someone attacks you, and especially externally, you feel much more guarded, and you try to defend, saying that, okay, this is an identity which I and we all stand for.
His first federal vote, and possibly the most important he'll ever cast. Katie Nicholson, CBC News, Toronto.
Canada's inflation rate fell last month. Statistics Canada says it dipped down to 2.3% from 2.6% in February. Falling gasoline prices were the biggest factor. StatsCan said lower airfares and tour prices also came down in March as fewer Canadians traveled to the U.S. Last month marked the start of Donald Trump's tariff war with Canada, prompting some consumer backlash toward U.S. travel and products. The inflation numbers are the last bit of economic data to come out before the Bank of Canada announces its next interest rate setting Wednesday.
The tariff turmoil is also taking a toll on Canada's housing market. The Canadian Real Estate Association says the number of home sales and home prices fell in March. Sales were down almost 5% from February, the fourth monthly drop in a row. The national average home price is down almost 4% from this time last year, just over $678,000. CREA is also downgrading its forecast for the coming year, saying the housing market has gone from a slam dunk to treading water at best because of economic uncertainty.
A Toronto woman says a recent rideshare experience has left her feeling uncomfortable and unsafe. Last month, she received a text message minutes after she was dropped off by a Lyft driver. In it was a transcript of the entire conversation she had with her friends in the vehicle. Sarah McMillan has the story.
An 8-minute rideshare drive has led to weeks of unease and unanswered questions for Anvi Ahuja. Last month, she took a Lyft with her roommates to their downtown Toronto apartment. When she got home, she received a text message from an unknown number that she can only describe one way.
Freaky.
That message was a transcription of the conversation she'd had minutes earlier with her friends in the back of the car.
It was such a long, weird message, and I got really freaked out. I was like, I think I'm being stalked. I think this is just really freaky.
When she calls the number back,
we can't connect your call because your driver is not available right now.
It clearly showed to me that it's not a personal number. It's a number associated within a system, so that raised a lot more eyebrows for me.
Lyft's explanations about how this happened have been inconsistent. Ahuja says when she first spoke with a Lyft representative by phone that night, she was told the recording was part of a pilot project by the company. In later messages, the company blamed the driver for recording without Ahuja's consent, calling the behavior unacceptable. While drivers and riders don't have access to each other's phone numbers, Lyft's privacy policy says it uses a third party so they can call and text each other, which could be how the driver contacted Ahuja through a masked number. Lyft does have a recording pilot in some U.S. cities, but not here in Canada, and insists this incident is unrelated. Ahuja's experience could be more than just unsettling. In Canada, it's against the law to record someone else's conversation without their consent or a court order. Privacy experts say this incident could also contravene federal privacy laws.
How can this take place? You're paying for a taxi equivalent to take you somewhere, Lyft in this case, and of course you assume that you're going to have conversations with other people in the car without it being taped and transcribed and retained. Completely unacceptable.
Lyft says it takes reports like this seriously, but Ahuja says she's not satisfied with how the company has responded.
It was not until like multiple nudges that I even got a response around the fact that we're so sorry your driver did that. I don't think Lyft took it seriously at all, and I don't think they took accountability on any of it.
Ahuja says she's done taking lifts. Sarah McMillan, CBC News, Toronto.
Well, when it comes to pickleball, the paddle can make all the difference. Some people believe the more you pay, the better you'll play.
Well, it is the fastest growing sport in North America, with most paddles manufactured in China and the U.S. The CBC's Shelley Joyce checked out a shop that's serving up equipment made in Canada.
My paddle is a Selkirk, which is a very popular brand name. For me, it's got a nice big sweet spot, which is a great place to hit the ball.
I'd spend between $150, $200. If I got the paddle, it would make me so much better.
I played with a cheapy paddle for a couple of years, and then my beautiful, kind wife bought me a nice paddle, and I must admit there was a difference.
Many of these players in Kamloops own several paddles purchased down south. But there's a new and voracious appetite for a pickleball paddle made in Canada. Aaliyah Postma and Brooke Siver make paddles out of their home base in Kamloops.
I play the control game, and my paddles last anywhere between 1 to 2 years. And Brooke, how long do your paddles
Well, I
last?
play a little bit of harder game. Of course, I go through 3 to 4 paddles a year.
Beginner players want to hit the ball hard at first.
Graphite paddles, it produces a lot of power.
A more advanced player? They might choose something softer.
The fiberglass, what's called a plastic or polymer core, and it provides a lot more cushion.
They make 50 to 60,000 paddles every year. But the bones, or blanks as they call them, still come from the U.S.
Most of these, matter of fact, all of them come from one of the aerospace plants down in California, and we get them by boxes of hundreds, and we just keep building them all day long.
Most pickleball paddles are made in China or the U.S. Manta sources as much as they can from Canada.
We used to get the edging from China. We now get it out of Vancouver. We wanted to make sure that as much of our pickleball paddles are manufactured in Canada.
Customizing your paddle could make it feel more Canadian. Imagine having your dog's face on your pickleball paddle, or a photo of your kid. The final step, the butt cap and the wrap, done by hand.
Takes about 30 seconds to grip a paddle.
The cost to swing an almost made in Canada pickleball paddle? Anywhere from $100 to about $260. The homegrown flavor, priceless. Shelley Joyce, CBC News, Kamloops.
Canada's main stock index rose today, led by gains in technology and financial stocks, while U.S. stocks moved lower to erase gains from earlier in the day. Here's a look at where things closed as we head to commercial break. Oh, yeah. The pictures that were taken today, don't you think they'd be nice?
Yeah.
Sun in them for sure.
Well, and those crocuses, of course, they come back.
Yep, and the lilies kind of springing up as well, so things looking good in the gardens. And you know what? If you're brave, why not hit the water?
Oh, okay. That still might be a little chilly.
Is that a hint?
Yeah, both surprised a little. Yeah, I'm guessing a wetsuit here is involved. We're going to Lawrencetown Beach, and of course, this is a popular spot in all.
Oh, yeah.
That's great.
They were dressed for the conditions.
Yeah, I believe so. Sandy Johnson said the kite surfers were out, and you can see that, beautiful day for it. Bit cloudy, but
good breeze.
Good breeze for sure. Thanks to Sandy for sharing this. Ryan's picks at CBC.ca. So as we look forward for Wednesday, temperatures 10 to 14 degrees yet again. Southwest winds are going to be breezier, gusting 50 to 60 kilometers per hour. That's going to keep temperatures in the onshore winds, Yarmouth 6, Lunenburg, right along that south shore, even the metro area. If you're right along the coastline, temperatures are going to be likely in that 6 to 9 range, and then get yourself inland. That's where we're looking at those 10 to 14 degree temperatures. So it's wet weather overnight and then clearing, and that chance for a shower into the afternoon will linger in the northeast. Thursday, mainly cloudy, chance for a shower into the afternoon for the east. This is how it plays out. We'll see that there's that wet weather. Snow in northern New Brunswick tonight, by the way, 5 to 15 centimeters for Bathurst and Campbellton. So still in the mix. You can see for Wednesday, there's that chance for a shower in the northeast, kind of wrapping around the backside of the system. We're just looking at some variable clouds. We'll kick up a little bit on Thursday with a chance for a shower, as I said, in the east. Friday looks good, and you can see this area of high pressure sliding in, and then that next system moving in over the Great Lakes. So that system will move in on Saturday. Showers looking likely throughout the day. We're going to clear the skies through Easter Sunday morning. Temperatures still a little uncertain. Looks like high single digits at the very least. And then we will be looking at Monday pretty quiet.
Okay, looking good. All right, thanks, Ryan. Well, if you thought you've seen all kinds of Easter traditions, here's one from Bosnia that really nails it.
Behold the practice of egg shoeing, an intricate craft that involves attaching miniature horseshoes to eggshells to create a decorative piece. It is a custom passed down through generations in this small Bosnian town.
The ability to shoe an egg was seen as a sign that a blacksmith apprentice was ready to branch out on his own.
Well, who knew?
There you go.
Impressive.
I don't have the patience for that.
I guess me neither. That's it for us tonight. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time.
Good night.
Good night.